How to understand the high cost of rents and the high cost of mortgages in the year 2023. And today is March 6, 2024. Well, it's greed. And like the old saying goes, too many chefs in the kitchen ruins the stew. This is about too many investors in the real estate market. Now, about 6 years ago, most of your investors were interested in playing by the rules. And that's what the legitimate investors really wanted. Years ago, the real estate market didn't have a lid on it. Now, it has been growing very fast as in expanding prices. The legitimate investor, the domestic investor, the international investor, Group A, seem to be playing by the rules based on rules and civility. But about 5 years ago, we seem to have an onslaught of new investors, international investors from Group B, who are really vulture capitalists. And they're here just to make profit. And maybe they've been here longer than that. Maybe they've been here for 10 years or more. And they're just making good money. But they lost their control. The real estate market is now just too hot. And just not the residential real estate market, the commercial real estate market. And 6 years ago, everyone was making so much money. The bankers, the investors, the brokers, they just lost control of themselves. So basically, COVID-19 came along and just really caused all kinds of problems for all investors, for the commercial investors and the residential investors. This had a terrible impact on the economy in 2021. Now, the investors in commercial real estate, they just really were hit very, very hard in a very negative way. Now, they didn't want to put it on their books, though. They wanted to hold out. And whether people were renting or paying a mortgage, everybody was economically hit in a very negative way. And now, this took the wind out of the sails, so to speak, of the real estate market, the commercial real estate market, and the residential real estate market. So for the legitimate investor, the domestic investor, the international investor of Group A, it's nobody's fault, really, COVID-19. We were all victims of COVID-19. But here's the problem. In 2021, people were just scrambling to stay above water, and nobody wanted to write off losses. In 2022, everyone just kept keeping on. And this did not work out well. Now, people who owned apartment buildings, for instance, just decided to raise rents to make up for the loss for people who could not pay their rent. They panicked. And they raised the rent so high that this created a false market. It's not a free market, it's a false market. And of course, these people probably, you can imagine, try to refinance their properties. And they probably try to tell the bankers they were renting at a much higher rent. Now, whether they were really collecting those rents or not, we'll never know. Or maybe just to attract new investors so they can sell their apartments. They want to be able to tell the new potential investor that they're collecting these high rents. But it's really not a reflection of reality at all, one could argue. It's just increased rents across the board, the entire real estate industry. The increase of rents is to a level that's just not real. Now, a lot of people got behind their mortgages, and there were quite a few foreclosures in 2021. Now, the banks try to do something different this time and try selling their foreclosed properties at auction as traditionally done prior to 2008's crisis. These big brokers came in and started buying the auction properties as brokers and investors. International investors, Group A, Group B, and they created this whole new market. And the banks started to create a pact with the devil. These real estate investment trusts are real estate brokers. Now, instead of allowing these foreclosures to go to auction, which would really be free market forces and would allow the market to self-correct itself, they made a pact with the devil. These real estate investment trusts and are real estate brokers who buy auction properties. And now they have a strange partnership that's created a false market. And all these real estate prices are artificially kept high. It's not a free market anymore. And nobody's probably making the money they want. But some of these real estate investment trusts that used to be exclusively commercial properties have, for the last 5 years or maybe longer, getting into the residential investments. And most probably these real investment trusts are probably buying from each other and selling to each other. And of course, the bankers have made an unholy alliance with these real estate investment trusts, buying and selling from to each other and from each other, as well as the real estate broker investors. And it looks like these banks have hired these companies as contractors or maybe in-house employees to manage these huge portfolios of foreclosed properties. And they now keep them as their own assets. Now, this is not a smart move. I'm sure the banks thought it was a smart move at the time, but no one saw COVID-19 coming down. And this has just complicated everything. Now, they're all looking to sell their assets, their bad investments probably, to other real estate investors. But it's the last one standing to be the Category 3 investors, subgroup B, who are really vulture capitalists. And these people may come from China, Communist China, they may come from Eastern Europe, they may be Russian, who came in with billions of dollars after the glasnost and the Soviet Union collapse. And when Yeltsin, he went and opened up the free market in Russia, and these people got rich through arbitrage deals, and they brought in billions of dollars to the United States to invest. So you have whether these people are from China or Russia, they're vulture capitalists, and maybe they come from other parts of the world who just don't believe in the Western traditions at all of fair play. They just want to make money. So now the questionable investors from subgroup B, vulture capitalists, they're everywhere. And maybe they're not from China or Russia, but they definitely are investors from all over the world who don't seem to believe in the Western traditions at all. Now, what if they are from China, in Communist Party China, and here to make money and to sow discord in our society? Now, this is not in our long-term interest to sit down and do nothing. This is turned into an open-air racket. They have created a racket and an artificial real estate market. Now, not all investors before COVID-19 were involved in this nefarious behavior. But due to COVID-19 and greed, and it's primarily probably greed, greed probably has more to do with it than anything else. Now, this has morphed into an open air racket, a vulture capitalist trying to manipulate the market not to lose their huge asset holdings. Because if there's a natural market self-correction, these vulture capitalists will lose big, and all the investors will. So nobody wants a free market self-correction. And now the domestic investor and the legitimate investor has no intention of imploding our free market system. They want to play by the rules. And the international investors from friendly countries, Group A, probably wanted to make a lot of money, but were willing to work within the rules with no intention of doing damage to our economic system. But nevertheless, you have investors, international investors from subgroup B, the vulture capitalists. They have no allegiance to the free enterprise system based on rules. Now, maybe based on greedy reasons, or in fact, it may be for nefarious reasons. And we really just don't know. So we've got to pass some regulation now. Now, international investors, Group A, may have very questionable ethics, but international investors from subgroup B, the vulture capitalists, may actually want to do nefarious damage to our free enterprise system and discord, and create discord and sow discord to our society as a whole. They may in fact want to do harm to our economy. Now, if this is going on, actually a foreign power is actually trying to create discord in our society and implode our economy, we've got to implement some new regulations to prevent this from continuing. Because for whatever reason, it looks like this is going on. Now, it's sowing discord in our society, and it's potentially going to implode our economy. This has created also inflation. And how to stop this open air racket that these vulture capitalists who seem to be willing to implode our economy and sow discord in our society. Now, this, based on our Constitution, the government of the people, by the people, for the people, we can implement any idea that will help control and regulate our real estate market, not to implode our economy.